What essentially goes wrong in an application, and what works in favor of somebody to actually cut the clutter and
Yeah.
be there?
I think one thing to understand is that
Okay, awesome.
let me also tell you that HR was not my first preference. I wanted to become a marketer. That's how I had started my journey, and that's how I had started applying for CAT, etc., all these exams. I knew very less about HR because I had very less experience, like 6 months in Deloitte, before I was actually writing my CAT exam. What essentially happened was a serendipity, I would say. Now I call it serendipity because I love this field. I realized it gives me a lot of purpose and meaning. And I think it was the right choice for me. But back then, it was actually by accident that I got into HR. So I had applied to MDI. And in my preference, there's a preference they ask, right? For which branch you want to kind of take up. Do you want to do PGPM? Do you want to do HRM? Because they have very specialized courses, and then you have PGIM. I think I had forgotten to send in that application back to the campus. So what essentially happened is that when I went for my interview round at MDI, I got to know that, okay, they've put my default as HR, and that was my first preference, which I ended up converting. So that's how I landed in HR.
When did you stop questioning whether that's the right field for you? And for the managers or the HR enthusiasts of today, what should be the line of learning and studying that they need to do now?
I stopped thinking so much about it. I think I was always somebody who liked to learn a lot from practical experience, and that's why I liked MBA as a course very much, because it was less theoretical and a lot to do with practical experiences. So the kind of internships, the kind of live projects, case competitions, these are very good opportunities for you to actually learn a lot about the real world business problems that people solve in marketing, finance, in HR, all of these fields. So for me, I think that really stood out. And my internship was that, that turning point for me, because that's when I actually went into an organization and realized, okay, this is the problem I need to solve. Okay, so I had interned with GSKCH, and that was my first time I actually got exposure to an FMCG setup. Like, I had absolutely no idea. I think as an engineer, the world is all tech. So you don't really know consumer brands. You don't really understand, okay, what's it like working on the other side in an FMCG company. So the project there, the quality of work I had, I think that really stood out for me. A lot of people feel that, just to become an HR professional, you need to probably study psychology in your graduation. You can, and it will always be helpful, but you could come from any field, because HR is a field where you need to have a very multidisciplinary approach, right? You could be in any industry. You could be partnering with any segment of the business. What you need is that basic general management experience that you get in especially the first year of college in an MBA, because you need to understand business very well, right? Whichever function you may partner with, whatever kind of work you do. So it honestly doesn't matter whichever field you come from, you can always choose to become an HR.
What essentially goes wrong in an application, and what works in favor of somebody to actually cut the clutter and be there to your notice?
Yeah, I think one thing to understand is that, when you ever write your resumes, is that there are a set of recruiters reading it, and imagine the volumes of resumes that you get in a country like India, right? Where there's so much manpower, it's so difficult to break the clutter. So it's very, very important, one, to be absolutely crisp. So in your MBAs, I'm sure you'll have one session with your placement committees who will teach you how to make one-pager CVs. And try to stick to that for the rest of your life. Like, try to have those one-pager things, because a lot of things you do in your past life, sometimes at different points of time, they become irrelevant. That's very important, and I think there is power in brevity. So keep things as sharp and succinct as possible, because it's difficult to articulate, everything that you might have done in your life into 2 simple sentences. But that's what helps catch attention. because nobody has the time to sift through so much. And today we have a lot of AI tools also, which is used in the recruitment. And what they do is they actually pick up a lot of these keywords. And these keywords are more like skills, things which are related to the job designation, right? So that's how a lot of these AI is also trained to kind of pick up. So those skills and the way generically they're talked about in the industry is something that you should have. And the other tip that I would leave you with is that, guys, LinkedIn is super important. Because sometimes, the pace of recruitment is so fast that many times we don't even ask candidates to share their CVs. If I like somebody, I'm actually doing most of my search on LinkedIn. So if you update that well, that even works brilliant. I think it's very important to be authentic. I think what happens is that B School makes you feel like you're a part of a rat race, okay? And you'll realize that once you join in June, July, whenever you guys have your joining, in 3 months you will be hit with your summer internship process. Suddenly you'll realize all those friends that you were working with, you're all competing against each other, and it'll feel like, okay, you need to do something earth-shattering to stand out. I would just say that be yourself, okay? Be authentic, be truthful. You don't have to, many times the answers that I get to questions like, why HR are so gassy and so sad, because I know that, that's not what people actually thought through. A lot of them have had stories like me where, maybe it just happened. And maybe that was the best option that they got. Out of all the options that they probably applied to when they were applying for MBA. So just be authentic in your story. The other thing is that if I look at people who would fit in from a Reckitt perspective, I would look at people who are self-starters, because we're not the kind of company who believes in spoon-feeding people. We believe you're adults, you're smart people, you're coming from great B schools, and you're here to make a difference. So we want to see that drive. We want to see that you guys are self-starters. You're going to take that initiative and go out and do things. And I think the third thing for me would be learning agility. So that's a key skill that you learn in B school also. And that's what you need to take away, the ability to figure things out, right? You won't know everything. But you have people around you, you have the internet, you have the ecosystem to figure things out. And that's what you need to learn. You need to be very agile in your learning so that you figure out how to solve problems that get thrown at you on a day-to-day basis. And that's something that I would really be looking at.
Super.